welcome back to another Movies Dandy. Today's movie is Faces of Death.
What's up?
I've been seeing these videos, all based off this old horror movie called Faces of Death. Do you think this could be real executions?
Leave it up.
So this review was a little late, but it was Coachella weekend. And no, I didn't go. So you could say it's Couchella weekend. Anyways, so Faces of Death is like a sequel slash reboot of the 1978 version Faces of Death movie. But the original one was more like a fake documentary about people dying on camera. And now the new Faces of Death takes that movie and uses some of the death scenes in there to make them real. And now a serial killer is on the loose and no one believes our main antagonist, Margot. And that's where the movie begins. But before we begin, this review is brought to you by Tay Salud. So with summer right around the corner, you know we need some hydration and immunity. And with the heat coming up, hydration and immunity is the best. And why not have them taste amazing just like the piña colada or the manzana flavor? And you can get these flavors and so many other delicious flavors if you use my code Andy10. Thank you so much, Tay Salud. Now back to the review. So let me start off with things that I liked about this film. Alright, I was introduced to Dacre Montgomery as the Red Power Ranger. So I thought he was going to be playing a lot of those superhero roles or like the goody two-shoe type of character. But I was completely wrong. He has now played a couple of bad guys in his filmography. But I feel like this one's his best one. He played a bad guy in Stranger Things where he was like the crazy older brother. And now in Faces of Death, he plays a crazy serial killer. This is a little spoiler alert, but not really because they showed it in the trailer. But I really do wish that they hid that he was the serial killer. But he did play an amazing serial killer, especially with changing his personalities throughout the film. And he was just really weird, creepy, and scary. So shout out to him for doing an amazing job. And also Barbie Ferreira, who played the protagonist Margot in this movie. She does a really good job and I really do like what they did with her backstory. So she just wasn't a content moderator who just happened to stumble upon his serial killer videos. She does have a bigger reason of why she wants to stop this person and why she does content moderation on the internet. So shout out to the writers and her for doing an amazing job with that. Also, there was one scene that I really enjoyed in this movie, which was like a split screen of two different things happening in two completely different states. I liked it a lot because I feel like one person thought they were being really slick while the other person knew exactly what they were doing and setting a trap for the other person. So I just thought that scene was really cool and really played out and really planned out perfectly. Also, this movie does have some gore and I feel like it was just the perfect amount. It wasn't over the top, but it did enough to portray what they were trying to say. Especially with one specific monkey head scene. And if you know anything about the Faces of Death movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. R.I.P. the monkey. I also do like that there was a couple long one shots in this film. Specifically one where there's following one character going up the stairs and he's trying to be very sneaky. And it just goes around the corner with him, making sure that no one is around there. And it even goes through walls when he goes into another room, which I thought was really well executed as well. And that was some things that I didn't really like. All right, so this is a negative and a positive, but more negative. So although I did like the story and what they were trying to do with this movie, as in to show that we as an audience is very desensitized to all the horrible things that are on the internet. And that although it may be horrible, we may still laugh and watch and keep watching and sharing amongst our peers. So that was good. I really like what the story was saying and the message that it was trying to portray to us. But along with that story, I do feel like some of the characters do some really dumb decisions. Like one decision in particular. So slight spoilers. So fast forward like 20-30 seconds. So Barbie's character Margot does go to the police station to tell them what she has found. So although she did go to the police and tell them, she didn't give them specific evidence to be like, this is why you need to go investigate. She kind of just says, look, this video's up, when she found out that this person has been missing for a little bit. So if she would have told them this information with this information, I feel like they would have made a bigger deal. But it kind of does that like a couple of times where she doesn't give all the information, which I feel like really hurt the story. And there were just a couple of other dumb decisions that the characters do in this movie. Like, I'll give you another small example. Like, although this movie may take place in Florida, I don't think people are just shooting guns outside of their window in a residential area. I mean, I don't think so. But this happens like 2-3 times and no one questions anything. And it's in a populated residential area. So I would think that the police may be coming. So there was a couple of decisions like that that I just did not like. Also, the pacing in this movie wasn't the greatest. It was a short movie, but it did feel long, especially with the first half of the movie. The second half does start picking up a little bit more, but with the first half, it kind of drags on a little bit. I feel like that did affect the movie because it was just a lot of waiting to see what happens and until the main characters meet up. And I did say in my before watching this movie reaction on TikTok that I did notice a lot of similarities between this movie and with the American Sweatshop movie. Because they're both about serial killers or someone killing someone on video, and both of the protagonists make it their mission to figure out what is happening and to try to be a hero. And although American Sweatshop doesn't have a lot of gore, I do feel like it portrayed the message a little better. But the Faces of Death movie does have a little better story, and I feel like the gore just adds to it just a little bit more. So although both of them are very similar, they both have things that I like from each one of them. And I know we don't go to the movie theaters for realistic movies, but there were some times in this movie that I'm like, come on, really? No one notices that this person is missing, or a very important person missing and nobody really questions it. Or at least they didn't portray that in this movie. That only one real person in this world was figuring out that this person was recreating the Faces of Death kills. So there were just some things like that in this film that I just didn't really like. So now, would I watch the Faces of Death movie in the theaters again? Honestly, I don't think I would watch it in theaters again. I would have to wait for it to be in streaming. Because although Dacre Montgomery and Barbie Ferreira did an amazing job, I don't feel like I would go to the theaters again to watch it. This story and what was happening and the unrealistic parts really took me out of this film. So now, did you watch the Faces of Death movie in the theaters? And if you did, I would love to hear what you thought about this film down in the comments. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more movie reviews every week.